Well, they're supposed to serve and protect, but there has been a recent trend of law enforcement treating ordinary citizens like they were warriors on the battlefield.
I was washing dishes. Out of my peripheral vision, I see movement. I look up. There's a Rambo kind of guy with like a vest and a gun pointing at me.
That was Florida nurse Louise Goldsberry describing what it was like when her home was raided by what she thought were home invaders.
I dropped to the floor and I yelled to my boyfriend, "Get down, there's somebody with a gun out there."
The police knocked down her door, handcuffed Goldsberry and her boyfriend, and then the police searched the home without a warrant. They were searching for a suspect they believed might be somewhere in the complex. No suspect was found. In a Charlottesville, Virginia parking lot, alcohol beverage control agents surrounded the 20-year-old college students and her roommates in their car. That's after the girls left a store with what the officers believed to be a case of beer. Being terrified by the plainclothed officers with weapons, the girls fled the scene and made this frantic 911 call.
Oh my God!
What's going on?
You don't know if they're real police officers or not, and we're freaking out.
In the end, the suspected case of beer was a case of sparkling water. The mayor of Berwyn Heights, Maryland, Shai Calvo, experienced a no-knock raid in his own home.
I saw 3 or 4 men in black and masks holding high-caliber rifles walking across my yard. I didn't have time to process that before I heard an explosion. Explosion of my door being blown open, followed by immediate gunfire.
Upon entry, the SWAT team shot and killed Calvo's 2 dogs.
They bound my hands, they pulled me across the living room, had me kneel on the floor in front of my front door, which had been blown open. I thought it was a home invasion. I was fearful that I was about to be executed.
Later, it was discovered the invasion was due to a drug raid mix-up. In Utah, Army veteran Matthew David Stewart's home was invaded by a SWAT team over the suspected use of marijuana. 12 officers from the Weber Morgan Narcotics Strike Force, made up of members from multiple agencies, raided Stewart's home. Their forced entry into the home resulted in a shootout between the officers and the suspect.
We got several officers down. Several officers down. Get units up here now.
Stewart ended up killing 1 police officer and injuring 5 others. He was arrested and would later take his own life in prison. Well, no-knock raids have increased from 3,000 a year in the mid-1980s to nearly 80,000 raids in 2011. Just for the math, that's an increase of 3,000%. Joining me now is John Whitehead. He's a constitutional attorney and founder of the Rutherford Institute. He's author of a remarkable new book, A Government of Wolves, the Emerging American Police State. John, great to have you here.
Thank you.
We are living in a time when police agencies that I've always supported and appreciated and still do, but they're becoming militaristic. How widespread is this?
It's very widespread. I mean, there were 3,000 so-called SWAT team raids in 1980, and there are 80,000 now, so the increase has been, dramatic. But what happened in the early 1980s, the Pentagon started handing out free equipment to 17,000 police agencies across the country, and you're talking about peacemakers, which have turrets, assault vehicles, armors for the policemen. So, and Kel-Bar helmets, assault rifles, Black Hawk helicopters. You have police agencies that have 50 officers, they have Black Hawk helicopters now. But what's happened is that they've militarized the police. And the police, as some Army officers have told me, is that once you put that gear on, and you've got some of them wearing masks now, by the way, which is pretty far out. That's what they do in Afghanistan. You can't see who you're up against. They become the military. It's not like the old peace officer who would walk up and say, "Sir, here's a warrant. I'd like to talk to you."
This isn't Officer O'Toole with his club coming down and saying hi to the kids.
It's more cool. They've got tasers, assault rifles. They shoot the dogs first. I mean, I've seen some of the raids. It's awful. Ayanna Jones, a young girl, 7 years old in Detroit, about 2 years ago, she was asleep on her couch. In storms these guys in the middle of the night. One of the officers' guns go off and shoot her and kill her. Her princess blanket over top of her. Her dad runs out and goes, "What's happened?" They slam him face down in her blood. The guy they were looking for was 2 floors up.
Wrong house.
Wrong house.
Now, what happens to the police agencies and to the responsible parties when they do this?
Well, most people sue. That case is ongoing right now, and the courts basically rule, though, most police officers have qualified immunity. The courts, it's very difficult. And here's what happens. When you get damages against police officers, guess who pays the bill? The taxpayer. Of course. So those things are going on. The case of Jose Guerrero down in Arizona, ex-Marine, Bang, 3 a.m. in the morning, door goes down, his wife starts screaming, he takes his wife and child and puts them in the closet. He stands at the end of his hallway with his hunting rifle. The police enter a scene, 90 rounds were fired, 60 hit him. He falls down. They wouldn't let the medics take care of him. He bled to death on his own floor. The police claimed he shot at them. Investigation showed his safety never came off his weapon.
My gosh.
So those are the kind of cases we're seeing. They're shocking, and as a civil libertarian, I've been in this area 40 years. This is a trend. If we don't reverse, folks, I'm creeped out, I say, and I'm worried.
Well, I think we all ought to be, and I want to talk to you some more about it when we come back. When we do, I'm going to ask John if there is a way that we can stop the militarization of state and federal departments across the country, and what can you do to protect? We are back with John Whitehead, a massive and frightening reality of police agents using military tactics, and sometimes not because they think that there's a terrorist unit, but because they're serving a warrant. They think there's marijuana. Most people back there smoking marijuana are probably pretty mellowed out. I doubt they're going to jump up and do much other than say, hey, man, you got any brownies? So, that's really not the big worry. First, let's just get into it. How many agencies, because it's not just local police units, federal agencies, and a lot of them, like the Department of Education. Why the heck does the Department of Education have a SWAT team?
They all do. IRS, Department of Homeland Security, they all have them. FBI. And the amazing thing that shocked me, about this time last year, the Department of Homeland Security bought over $1 billion hollow point bullets to supply their agency. And no explanation, but I'm a former infantry officer. Hollow point bullets hit your body and explode basically and kill you. And the question is, why does the Department of Fisheries now has hollow point bullets? But they're in their black gear, they're going through people's homes. There's a sort of, I think, paranoia that's built up in government about the American citizens. And really what I think's happens, we've reversed the master-servant relationship. Our Fourth Amendment, our Constitution says, absolutely, as I say, the three most beautiful words in the English language are we the people, we are the government. When any government employee, the president, the police, they're our servants, we pay their bill. When they approach us, they should approach us with great worth and dignity. One of the key things I point out in the book is bodily integrity is gone. They're pulling people over and doing rectum searches. There were 2 women this time last year driving through Texas. They were pulled over by the police and they did vaginal and rectum searches in search of so-called marijuana in the car.
On the side of the highway. On
the side of the highway. That was actually filmed. You can see it's awful. Yep. They didn't even change the gloves.
Yeah. No, and those kind of things are so outrageous, but it's not just an isolated incident once in a while. This is happening regularly. Is it because we've supplied police agents with too many whiz-bang toys?
Oh, sure. There's no reason for 50-man police department to have what they call a peacemaker. That's the tanks they use over in Afghanistan.